In the 1980s, along the turbulent border between Thailand and Cambodia, a shadow world emerged, a world the world chose to forget. Refugee camps, built for those fleeing the aftermath of war, became cages of suffering. Forgotten by governments, neglected by the international community, these camps held secrets that remain hidden to this day.
Imagine a place where survival was a daily battle, not just against hunger and disease, but against human cruelty, coercion, and despair. The camps were meant to offer safety. Instead, they became a theater of suffering, a silent horror story buried along the Thai-Cambodian border.
This is a story of lives forgotten, of atrocities unrecorded, and of a human tragedy that the world largely ignored. To the outside world, these camps were portrayed as sanctuaries, symbols of hope and humanitarian intervention. Aid organizations distributed food and medical supplies. Flags fluttered in the sun. Cameras captured moments meant to reassure donors and the global public. But the truth was far harsher.
Inside the camps, thousands of refugees were crammed into inadequate shelters. Sanitation was minimal. Disease spread quickly. Cholera, dysentery, malaria, and other illnesses claimed countless lives. Food rations were insufficient, often spoiled or contaminated. Water was scarce and unsafe. Children suffered first, their bodies weakened by malnutrition and illness. Many did not survive.
Reports of abuse were common, yet largely ignored. The Thai military, local authorities, and even some international NGOs often turned a blind eye to the suffering. Forced labor, disappearances, and coercion were documented in private reports, but few reached the public eye.
The world saw the image of aid: trucks delivering supplies, smiling officials handing out rations, and orderly queues of refugees. But it did not see the exhaustion etched into faces, the despair hidden behind canvas walls, or the silent grief of families who had lost everything.
Many refugees were coerced into forced labor, their work exploited to serve political, military, or economic interests. Men and women were assigned to construct infrastructure along the border, to farm fields for Thai authorities, or to work for private enterprises who benefited from cheap, expendable labor.
Children as young as 10 were forced into heavy labor, carrying bricks or water, often under the blazing sun. Men and women toiled for hours with minimal food or rest. Any hesitation or perceived failure could result in beatings, humiliation, or disappearance. Labor was not voluntary. It was a matter of survival.
To those in power, refugees were not human beings. They were tools, faceless laborers, invisible to the outside world. Their suffering, though immense, remained largely unacknowledged beyond the camp boundaries. And while international aid provided limited relief, it was often too little, too late.
Disappearances were a chillingly common reality. Families could wake to find loved ones gone, taken under cover of night, never to return. Some were sent to labor camps deeper within Thailand. Others simply vanished, leaving behind unanswered questions and hearts full of fear.
Mass graves grew beneath the earth, hidden under jungle foliage, unmarked, unknown even to those living nearby. These graves are silent witnesses to horrors that the world chose not to see. Reports of these graves were often dismissed, hidden, or ignored, leaving survivors with no closure and little hope.
Decades later, the ghosts of these camps linger. Faces are forgotten, names erased, but the atrocities remain etched into the soil itself, a chilling testament to human neglect, cruelty, and indifference.
Millions of dollars in international aid flowed to the camps, yet much of it never reached the people who needed it most. Corruption, Bureaucratic mismanagement and political manipulation diverted resources to those in power rather than the desperate refugees. Food rations were siphoned off. Medical supplies disappeared. Tents and shelters decayed without replacement.
When these failures were exposed, the stories were quickly buried. Victims were left without justice, their suffering invisible beyond the walls of the camps. The world's attention was fleeting, superficial. Headlines faded, and so did the urgency. But inside the camps, suffering persisted, relentless and merciless.
The humanitarian system, intended to protect, often became complicit in prolonging suffering, highlighting a dark paradox of international intervention in the border camps.
Survivors are few, their voices muted by fear, trauma, and time. Yet the fragments of their testimonies reveal the scale of the horror. They speak of nights filled with terror, whispered rumors of mass executions, and family members disappearing under the watch of armed guards.
One woman recalls hiding her child beneath a pile of straw as guards passed. Another man recounts losing his brother, taken for labor and never returned. The stories are incomplete, yet together they form a mosaic of suffering too vast to ignore. These voices, though few, are the last witnesses to a tragedy the world has largely forgotten. Their memories are a record of lives erased, of humanity denied, and of suffering that deserves to be remembered. Daily life in the camps was a continuous struggle for survival. Food was scarce, water contaminated, disease rampant. Fear and violence loomed over every interaction. Every day demanded vigilance, courage, and resilience. Children sought fleeting moments of innocence amidst chaos, playing amidst ruins, scavenging for scraps, or helping care for younger siblings. Their laughter was fragile, often interrupted by the harsh reality surrounding them. Adults navigated the constant threats of exploitation, illness, and violence, while struggling to maintain some semblance of normalcy. Hope existed, but it was fragile, fleeting, and constantly under threat. And yet, despite unimaginable hardship, the human spirit endured, quietly resisting the forces that sought to crush it. To understand the horrors of the refugee camps, we must first understand the political turbulence of the time. Cambodia had been ravaged by the Khmer Rouge, which left millions dead, cities emptied, and families torn apart. When Vietnam invaded Cambodia in late 1978 to remove the Khmer Rouge from power, waves of refugees poured across the border into Thailand. Thailand, fearing Vietnamese influence at its doorstep, established border camps to contain the influx. These camps were not purely humanitarian. They were buffer zones, strategic outposts, and tools for political maneuvering. Caught between war and politics, the refugees became pawns. Their suffering was secondary to geopolitical ambitions. Safety and care were conditional, and humanity often took a backseat to strategy.
Despite reports of atrocities, international action was limited. Investigations were slow, reports sanitized, and aid diverted. Diplomacy often outweighed human lives. Abuses occurred largely unchecked.
Turning away allowed suffering to continue. Forgotten lives became numbers, and pain invisible to those with power. Some brave individuals documented the truth. Human rights investigators and journalists risked their lives, yet reports rarely reached the global stage. Stories of suffering remained fragmented, easily dismissed. Documentation became a lifeline, preserving the memory of those silenced by fear and neglect. Life after the camps brought new challenges. Trauma lingered. Health issues persisted. Families were fractured. Many survivors carried silence as a shield. Speaking out meant revisiting horrors and risking social stigma. Many camps have vanished,
Nature has reclaimed the land. But mass graves remain, silent witnesses to human tragedy.
For survivors and descendants, these sites hold grief, memory, and unresolved pain, and for the world, they are a moral challenge. The story of the Thai-Cambodian refugee camps is one of human suffering, neglect, and survival against unimaginable odds. It is a reminder that humanitarian efforts can falter, that politics can overshadow compassion, and that lives can be forgotten in the shadows.